studio, I have Mr. Francis Omwangi, who's the Director of Learning and Curriculum, and Mudoni Waigwa, who's the alumni of YALI. Welcome to studio.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to Switch TV.
Thank you.
All right, now, I'll start with you, Mr. Francis, because I understand when you talk about curriculum and learning, it means there's a process. It takes time. So maybe just on a layman's language, what is YALI?
So YALI stands for the Young Africa Leaders Initiative, which is, as the name suggests, a leadership development program for young people that was started way back in 2014.
Okay.
It's an initiative of the US government, and it wants to bring together 48 countries from across Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, to develop the leadership potential of young people.
Okay. Now, for example, of course, we have an alumna here in studio. Mudoni, you're here, and I want to ask you a question. Yeah. What made you get interested in joining YALI?
To be honest, you know how you can see an application call?
Absolutely.
And you tell yourself, let me apply.
Sure.
So the first one I tried was when Mandela Washington Fellowship. And I got a rejection. So when the call came for the Regional Leadership Center, I was like, my gosh, why do I want to take myself through another moment of rejection? Why? But I applied. And when I got the acceptance, I was so thrilled, because the reason why I'm so passionate about leadership is because my mom was on the front lines of leadership. Okay. And she inspired me to take on that baton and be on the front line of leadership. All right. We shouldn't shy away, even if you're a youth or a woman. It's important to take those opportunities that come your way and be on the front line of leadership.
Amazing, amazing stuff. Now, yeah, now, Francis, on your end, I understand it's a procedure, because she saw an application and you can just apply and then life goes on, you're called. What's the procedure of joining?
So as part of YALI, we've got 4 regional leadership centers across Africa. There's one in Kenya, one in South Africa, one in Dakar, Senegal, and one in Accra, Ghana. So our center here is one of those 4. The application process is online, and what we are looking for are 18 to 35-year-olds who are passionate about change in themselves and change in their communities, people who believe that they need to step up so that they can bring about transformation in our communities. So we are looking for somebody who has a great passion for change, either in business and entrepreneurship, public management, and civic leadership.
All right.
It's a fully sponsored program. It's sponsored by USAID. Our other partners are Kenyatta University, where we are based, Deloitte, who administer the program, and the MasterCard Foundation.
All right, interesting. Now, I believe the biggest question is, what will you do back at home after actually just being taken through the learning process, the leadership process? For example, there's civic engagement. There's also so many things you can actually go. Business, is it business?
Business and entrepreneurship. Business,
absolutely. Yeah. So there's so such things, and I believe the biggest thing is for you as an alumni to go back to your home country and give back. So for you, what did you choose actually?
So my background, I'm a entrepreneur.
Okay.
So I own a business with my co-founder. We've been in business for 5.5 years now.
Wow.
So when I applied, I chose obviously business and entrepreneurship.
Absolutely.
To gain the skills necessary to build my business and to take it to the next level.
Sure.
So going through the 4-week program, we went through different aspects of the course. So design thinking, coming up with strategies that are human-centered. Because the situation is, when most of us are out there, we come up with solutions thinking that the community needs this solution.
Sure.
Well, in fact, that's probably not what they need. So with the design thinking, we're given the tools necessary to come up with solutions catered to the specific needs of a consumer or a customer or the community. So design thinking, as well as 7 habits of highly effective leaders. So we went through that as well. And also we were put now in our different groupings. So business entrepreneurship, or civic leadership, or public engagement. So myself being in business entrepreneurship, I worked with fellow entrepreneurs across the 14 countries of this region, getting to understand what they go through in their different regions, and then also gaining more insights into business and entrepreneurship. And now, having done that, it's making sure that I implement what I've learned into my business, and also encourage those who are seeking to start their own businesses to do so, and to give them the tools necessary to do that.
Frankly, it's clear there's so much exchange program that goes on in there. Now, for an alumni like her, now what happens after she leaves? For example, if he or she leaves the institution, what really happens? Do you do some follow-ups, or what really happens?
Yeah, we do. So we've got alumni in 14 different countries in East and Central Africa. And one of the things we've done is to assist them to organize themselves into what we call alumni country chapters. And Modoni is an official of the Kenyan chapter, actually.
Wow, nice.
Talk a little bit about that. So in each of the countries we have a chapter. We ask the alumni to plug in into those chapters. And in the chapters, then they give back into their communities, they organize events, they organize trainings, and we provide for them opportunities that we come across. So whether it's grants, whether it's jobs, whether it's internships, any opportunity that we can throw at them, we do that. And since 2015, when our center opened, all the 14 countries have a chapter that's going on.
Now, when you talk about Mandela Washington Fellowship, I understand this now, it's a continental thing, around 1,000 youths going to Washington, is it? Now, yeah, that's the case. Now, they say it's kind of the biggest in this situation. Maybe, is it?
I wouldn't say so.
I seem to be, I wouldn't say
it's
so.
like the Baba Yao. I know you refer to it as Baba Yao. It's one of the 3 arms of YALI. So YALI is the umbrella body for what we are talking about here. And the Mandela Washington Fellowship is one of them. The regional leadership centers where we are at is the second arm, and the third arm is the YALI network, which is an online community of resources and e-learning programs that we provide to everybody out there. So there's those 3 arms for the YALI program, and the Mandela Washington Fellowship is one of them. Yes, it does happen in the US. It's a 6 weeks program, again based on the 3 pillars that I mentioned earlier: business and entrepreneurship, civic leadership, and public management.
Now, when you talk about impact, I understand you also have you interacted with so many Africans, just the regional leaders that are in this region. What are the impacts that I can say? For example, you chose business. Have you seen one of your former, maybe you call them the cohorts?
Yes.
Absolutely. The cohorts. What have you seen so far from them, and maybe you love to learn? I understand there's been progress. What have you seen from other cohorts?
So sitting as an official in the Kenya Alumni Chapter, we got in office last year. And one of the things that we saw that was necessary is to put our chapter into clusters, so specifically into different counties. And this year we embarked on county visits. And through those visits we realized that alumni are doing so much. And it's important that we recognize them for what they're doing. So for example, there's an individual in Eldoret called Samuel. And he set up an innovation center called Tumaini to support street children so that they can have a better life, a better lifestyle, and by giving them hope, by giving them knowledge, by giving them skills, so that they can have a better life. Because it's important that we plug in into our communities and give those people at the ground level the opportunities necessary for them to have a better life. And we also have individuals who are in Mombasa doing great work by doing, like, let's say, mangrove tree planting, making sure that they're making an impact in the environment, making sure that the environment is here for future generations. And also other cohorts, I have individuals in Tanzania as well, who after the program, because they were part of the business and entrepreneurship segment, were able to get specific strategies to build their businesses and to take it to another level. So I'll give an example of a lady called Sandra. So when she came in, her business was snacks. But by the time she came out, she realized, you know what, I can engage with the community and give them entrepreneurial skills so that they can have a better life. So she entered into a niche path, which is now offering natural products for skin and hair. And with that, she's also partnered with women on the ground who can source the products, who can source the ingredients so that they too can have a better life.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
For example, the Tumaini Center, did he sponsor himself, or it was actually with the help of the US government?
These are personal initiatives.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be the US government that's sponsoring our alumni projects.
Yeah.
They go out, they work together, and that's one of the things that we've seen at the program, that we have people who connected right there. They collaborated, they network, and they create businesses together. And that's one of our really big wins, that we bring 90 to 100 people for 4 weeks, and what they do within those 4 weeks is exactly that: create synergies and businesses and collaborations across the 14 countries.
Absolutely. So it's clear it's all about impact.
Yes.
Now, for someone who's applying, must he or she need that paper, that degree, the whatever master's thing? You know, sometimes there's always fear, because when you look at the application, you're asked, your level of education, you have to fill in. You get it, huh? So, but we'll be talking about this after a short break, because now I understand sometimes it really brings fear. Maybe someone with a certificate who's so good has this plan, or maybe even dream to achieve something, is fearful to apply because there's so much. For example, the only category that ends in that application is a degree. So we'll talk about that.
Let's talk it about.
All right, taking a short break. But now Mudhoni and Francis will be now expounding more on the application process. All that after a short break. All right, welcome back to Morning Live. We left the conversation before we took a break when it was a bit kind of an issue regarding how applicants need to go through the process. Now, what do you need to apply? Mudhoni, please expound this to us.
It's as simple as believe in yourself. If you have an idea and you truly want to see it come to life, apply. It's not a matter of do you have a degree, do you have a diploma, do you have a master's. They're looking for individuals who, number one, believe in themselves, individuals who want to create impact in their community, and individuals who are seeking to make a change. And more importantly, someone who is enthusiastic about improving their life as on an individual basis. Are you seeking to become a better person? Are you seeking to make the change that is necessary for today? Because as you, sometimes we're looking for someone else to come in and make our lives better, when in fact it is you who can make the change.
Now, at the center, I know there's a 001, day one, you take them through a process, there's briefing. Maybe how long are they always in camp? Let me say camp for, and what do they learn?
So it's a 4 weeks program. It's residential, based at Kenyatta University. It's not a camp, so we have great facilities for them.
I like that.
Over the 4 weeks, we have put together a program that speaks to the individual. So we are talking about personal effectiveness. How do I become better? What changes do I need to make in my life? But we also then add on leadership, that is working with other people. How do I connect with other people? Because leadership, is about other people and giving back. And then the third part of it is country, continental wide. So we are talking about Africa here. We're very passionate about Africa.
Excuse me.
The 4 weeks program is based on 6 key pillars that run through as a thread. And the first one is courage, for change making.
Okay.
How do I get out of my comfort zone, right? What are some of the things that you need to realize that make you comfortable, and therefore you need to step out of that and do something different.
Okay.
Leadership is about courage, and courage to change yourself and to do things that you need to do, doing the right things.
All right.
The second one is influencing. So you need to influence so that you create impact. You need to bring people on board with you, people who have the same values and want to see things done differently. We also but take them through creativity and innovation. Mudhoni mentioned design thinking, which is one of the programs that we use to show the participants that they can start to do things differently. We've had problems, challenges, let me call them, in this country for many years. How do we start to think different in the solutions that we need to provide?
Yeah.
Then we also talk about partnerships. As I mentioned earlier, it's very important that the participants connect and collaborate to do things. You don't kill a flea with one finger, we say. As probably in Africa, you need to get together, to work together. And we also have to think about what is our sense of purpose. So the participants have this great program that she again mentioned, the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. What legacy do I want to leave? What is my vision? What is my mission, right?
Okay.
Why am I here? So that sense of purpose we generate right there during the 4 weeks. And finally, diversity and social inclusion. It's very clear that, again, we have 14 countries getting together, participants from different backgrounds, religions, and it's a mirror of our continent, these participants who come to us.
Okay.
And we see sometimes conflict that is generated, either natural resource conflict, conflict based on religion, conflict based on different communities. Social inclusion for us is a big one. So we want everybody to work together, to appreciate each other, and to leave no one behind when we are creating change.
Wow, interesting. Now, Mudhoni, when you talk about the impact, of course, you've talked about impact. Guys have done amazing jobs in Mombasa. You've mentioned Tanzania. And let's talk about someone who really wants to apply. Is the 2019 window still open?
Yes.
It's still open?
It's still open for
Wow.
cohort 33 and 34.
Okay.
And then they're left with a week. So to say, get on it.
Absolutely.
And the application is open on the website, which is YALIEastAfrica.org.
.org, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So they can apply and,
All right,
and
all
be
right.
part of the...
So I know those funny embargoes where you're told maybe attach your certificates, attach your credentials. Maybe, do we have something like that?
No, absolutely not. Attach your energy, love, and
stuff.
initiative.
Good
That's
stuff.
what it
Good
is to
stuff.
say.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, for example, do you have different programs each year, or it's just a cycle of the same thing happening all year round?
So we've had 9 cohorts every year, and it's a standard program. So we've got set objectives that we want to achieve.
All right.
How we do that is a mix of experiences.
Okay.
In fact, we like to call it an experience rather than a leadership development program. So we go do some outdoor activities. We have evening speakers who come in, sector leaders who come to share their leadership journey. We have field visits. We have community service where we go and engage with the community.
Okay.
So it's that whole mix that we like to provide because leadership is not taught in the classroom.
Absolutely.
That's not what we want to do here.
It's true. Now, we need you to give us some Wakenya in this situation. For the applicants who are watching right now, someone who is so interested.
Yes.
And how was the interview? The first calling, that is.
The first call,
Yeah,
when I got
absolutely.
through...
We got the mail now. Yeah, you're a semi-finalist. You're
Yes.
coming now for the physical interview. Maybe take us through that. What the questions, how you approach them. Now, you understand there's someone who's watching.
Yes.
Right now, I'm very sure he or she has kind of typed
Yes.
YALIEastAfrica.org.
Yes.
And wants to know more about the process. Now, how was the interview?
let's just say I mark actually a year. My cohort was last year, February.
Okay.
So basically you'll go in online and then answer the questions that will come about that are on there.
Sure.
And I would tell the individual who's logged in to not compare their answers with their friends, because I'm sure there's someone who's sitting next to their friend and saying, let's see what you're going to do. It is your personal journey.
Okay.
So whatever that you want to do, put it on paper. So you'll submit it, then you'll wait for some time for you, all the applications to be reviewed.
Okay.
Then you'll be shortlisted. Then there'll be a call or a face-to-face meeting. For me, I got a phone call, and through that phone call, basically I had to not really justify my answers, but show a correlation with what I've put on paper and to what I'm saying.
Okay.
Because of course there are individuals who are helped to their applications, but when the time comes when you are being interviewed, show that you can connect
Absolutely.
what you have put on paper and what you're saying to them.
Okay.
And from there, you say a prayer and
Say
you
a prayer.
and hope that you'll be selected.
Okay.
And of course, if you did go over and beyond and expressed your enthusiasm and showed that you're really interested to be part of this program, they'll pick on that. And you'll get an email saying, congratulations, you've been selected.
All right, interesting. How long was it? 4 weeks?
4 weeks.
Okay. Now, the period of 4 weeks, do you submit a strong letter? Because I believe she was engaged somewhere. For example, she was into business. I understand she needed some time. Of course, they're partners. You have a partner, is it? Now, for example, someone who's employed, who's working somewhere, how will you convince? Or is it the responsibility of, for example, the courts kind of convince the bosses or the employer to actually release them?
Well, we've had employers say to their teams, guys, apply for the program, because they know the value of the program. They know the value that the team member will bring back to the job. So they would say, you know, go on, let's do this.
Okay.
But even then, if you get admitted to the program, we've had some people who've taken their annual leave and said, you know, for these 4 weeks, this is how I want to develop myself. This is worthwhile, and they've done that.
Okay,
So,
interesting. Now, were you given some allowances? You know, these are questions very important. You know, as much as it's residential, everything is offered.
Yeah.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
Don't focus on
No,
the
no, no, no,
allowances.
no. Actually, the reason why I'm asking such a question is for
True.
When you apply, you want to come in with the whole scenario. You want to be ready. Like, okay, not expecting allowances. The bigger picture is it's about exchange program.
Yes.
But are you sorted out in a good way? Or
Okay, just know this. You're selected. You go to KU. You're there for 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
You're catered for.
Everything.
Everything.
absolutely.
Go to your bed. Wake up. Breakfast. Go experience.
Yeah.
Eat. Fantastic
Hey,
experience for 4 weeks.
Fantastic.
As Mudania said, USAID has fully sponsored this program. So again, we want people who want to see a difference
Absolutely.
in themselves and in others.
Absolutely.
So they should be comfortable knowing
Everything is
that
sorted out.
everything
Yes, it is.
All right.
is covered.
Okay. So, because it's 4 weeks, my director, Mr. Kavai, is now interested. He's asking. you know, you're Kenyans, eh? What mnapeana transport? You know, I believe these guys are in kind of a residential situation, is it? So, it's zero, because I understand when the aspect of allowance comes in, there's also interested parties now. Wow, there's an allowance. I think I have something. No.
There's not an allowance, let me put it that way.
Absolutely.
There's a stipend that, you know, allows you to buy your personal effects,
Yeah.
and that's
Okay.
about it.
Stipend.
Yeah.
Perfect. Now, you're a leader also.
Yes.
Because now you managed to actually, were you elected in or appointed?
You know, this program really, I want to call it triggers something in you, where by the time you finish, you truly believe in yourself, and whatever opportunities come your way, you say, you know what, I'm going to take up this challenge. So when the window opened for us to be elected, we actually self-nominated ourselves.
Oh, okay.
But we had to go through an election process with the alumni campaign,
Wow, interesting.
show them that you are capable of doing this role, and we can say the rest is history.
Wow.
So I'm part,
Congratulations.
thank you so much. So part of the executive committee, we have our chairman, we have networking and events committee chair, we have participants engagement, we have communications, and for myself, it's partnerships and resource mobilization.
Okay.
So as an alumni chapter, how do we engage the community and seek partnerships that will make the alumni plug in so that they can continue networking, continue gaining new skills, and also for them to have an avenue to continue doing their work of impact.
Okay.
Yes.
We've had alumni who sit in the East African community. That's the youth parliament, is it? So many alumni actually, we've been seeing so many people now being thrown to the deepest end of leadership. Now, do we expect more and more? For example, Doni is here, she's a leader. Do you expect more from the the group, the cohorts to actually now join that responsibility, legislative responsibilities, just as far as the youth are concerned?
Yes, we do, and we encourage them to. So it's not just the ESC, also the African Union. We have people who are sitting in there. We have young people who are interested in elective, positions. So that's great. Okay. We have young people who want to go into health, environmental issues, IT. It's a whole broad spectrum of interests. Okay. And we want to support them to bring about their dreams to come to reality.
Absolutely. Dreams. What's your dream, Modoni?
That is such a powerful question. Yes. What is my dream?
Absolutely.
My dream is to, number one, because I'm a content creator. Okay. So it's to create content that changes the narrative of Africa. It's really important that we change that narrative because there's a danger of a single story. Okay. So stories that future generations can watch and see that indeed Africa is number one. Okay. Number two is to be on the front lines of leadership. As a woman, as youth, it's to participate in whatever forums that are necessary to make a change in our communities and of course in the larger scale for this country. And more importantly, to just be an individual that is aware of what's happening in a global perspective, because we need to be present and aware of what's going around globally. Wow. Yes.
It's public speaking part of the drill, because I think Modoni is you're good in public speaking, like the expressiveness, you're presenting yourself. Is it part of the drill? Because I'm seeing
it's not a drill. It's Modoni is a representation of our participants and what they stand for and what they believe in. Okay. So there's no drill there. There's no drill. If you're talking about bringing out the confidence in people, believing in themselves, that, yes, we do. That's what I said. Part of the program is influencing for impact. So we have programs that plug into that, and yes, then you can see it's working.
Just before you wind up, maybe this year, what are you looking forward to have in store? Because we've talked about Tumaini Center for Street Children, things like those, and we've talked about so many projects around. Now this year, what are you looking for? Because I understand not so many people can actually just go back and of course do some projects. Some people engage in leadership, some people do so many things. Now this year, what are the expectations?
So this year we are already at 2,713 alumni. We want to increase that number. And what we are hoping to see is greater collaboration across the 14 countries. So Modoni is working with a Kenyan chapter, but we'd like to see those chapters connect now with each other and see how they can promote themselves in the work that they're doing.
Last remarks?
Last remarks. Absolutely. As an alumni chapter, we are establishing a summit in March for the youth across the country to come and gain knowledge. So, for example, for those individuals who don't make it through, they can be part of this summit, engage, get to hear keynote speakers, and get to know about YALI and interact with other youth leaders across the country.
Amazing.
Yes.
Thank you so much for coming to studio today.
Yes.
Of course, we'll come visit you sometime.
Please do. You're most welcome.
If you're watching right now, I believe you've learned something. Just go, of course, Google, apply. So much in store for you. And of course, it will improve you as a person.